Why hello, Prost. It's February and I thought I'd share a little update in my journal. Blythe here, and most of my content has to do with dance and mindful movement, yoga and coaching, but because creativity is also a very important topic for me, I do also include some behind the scenes looks, including things like my notebook, which I've been having so much fun in lately that I just had to give you another peek, and also me another peek for future me as I'm looking at how things were in 2024, namely in February. Just about done with this quarterly book, quarterly, seasonal, usually about 4 months fit. I have my monthly and weekly spreads, such as this January spread, and all sorts of special collections and notes and teaching and coaching notes and more sort of aktuell is the German word. What's the English word? More current collections and things. And then I have also in here for daily reference my long-term or my annual collections. So those are both in moleskin cahiers. I just find that that's a good size, and I've been using them for a little while now and enjoying that. And I haven't decorated the annual book for 2024 yet on the outside, but I have shared already my cover spread here that has my word of the year and poem and some crazy collage that happened sort of over the course of December and January. And then I did share another video with sort of the beginning of migrating into this book from my 2023. That's still super handy. I keep it on hand for reference, and yeah, look at the creative things that I did in there and whatnot, but not nearly as often, of course, as we move into the future as the current annual book, which has my 24/24s in 2024, now fully decorated. And so those are the backbone of the collections, the annual collections in here that are arranged around the sort of major focus areas of my life as I have them articulated so far. Those being reading, writing, creating, practicing, service, connection, sustaining, and adventuring or celebrating. And of course there's lots of overlap, and it's not sort of a fixed system, but it fits well so far. And for this year, for sort of a playful, though arbitrary number of 24, I don't know that I'm gonna have a new one every single year forever, but 24 is kind of a fun number to play with, and so I came up with 24 things that are either daily, weekly, every other week or so, important actions. And those, of course, support my larger goals and projects. So they are not, the number's arbitrary, but the actions are not arbitrary. They are in support of some of the things that I've identified as the most important ones towards like my longer term goals and projects. Yeah, and I have a little index here that's of course ongoing, and these things, since I migrated, have started to be populated more, including my future log, which I won't share in detail. It's a bit personal, but that's what comes next in the book. And then we have my reading list. I've read a couple books at this point, only completed a couple fiction books, but that's okay. I just like to keep my love of reading alive, and I do read nonfiction each day as well, but a little bit less, maybe not at the same speed, but I have also a list to refer to as I go through the year and prioritize my sort of pleasure and research and all sorts of reading. It's such a great creative input. And then we have my output, such as writing, blog articles and ideas. I've written not a blog article a week yet so far this year, but I've written 3 and published. And I have an ideas list here, but I do keep one digitally as well. And this is always, of course, a bit fluid. I do try to plan my content roughly quarterly or seasonally, but not be too rigid about it as new ideas and new challenges and all of that comes up. Life happens. I have been really good about keeping up with my weekly newsletter consistently though, and I'm happy about that because my biggest supporters and fans and like-minded people and whatnot are for the most part a part of that email newsletter, and they get sort of the first scoop, heads up, inner sort of view, real deal. I do also write creatively, and actually I think I have another poem acorn to add to the list. I just write them as they come to me, and I'm not saying they're good, but good. If you only wrote poetry that was, quote, good, no one would ever write any poetry. So same thing with dance and all creative outputs. And I'm behind on my letter writing project. Surprise, surprise, not at all. I've got a plan and a list of people to write to and all kinds of fun goodies assembled, but I have yet to send anything. That's all right. I want to keep that all secure though with the stamps and whatnot. And then creating, which is not writing, I track that as well, including videos published. We've got several new videos up on the Blythe Coach YouTube channel and a whole bunch of ideas for upcoming content, which again is somewhat fluid, but does have sort of a structure to it in my mind. I kind of like how this spread turned out. Bullet journaling is really just glorified list keeping, but isn't it beautiful list keeping? Even when we have mistakes, we have whiteout, we have messy handwriting like I do, it still kind of all comes together in a way that brings me back again and again. It's like a hobby. It's creative. Artist child loves it, like these Nancy Drew cards. So for choreography, I've not kept up with in real time with the alphabet superset, but I continue to work on my alphabet superset choreographies. And being a part of that community and being challenged in that way, even though what I've taken on is fairly minimal and simple, it's still been quite, it's like kind of a long race and a really fun ongoing challenge. So I'm on P, so we've got to get through Z coming up. And I haven't really taken any notes for tango, but that's another new thing that's come up sort of choreographically and in terms of learning new dance styles. And having a great time with tango, learning to lead, not prioritizing either last year or this year the podcast, but I'm not saying I won't publish any. Maybe some will come up. Maybe I'll feel inspired, have bandwidth for that. I do have a whole list of people I want to interview and work with in the future, but at the moment, that's not the top of the priority list. It's a would be nice thing. As is any big focus on like playing instruments, singing, learning music. That's always happening, especially in terms of listening to music, creating playlists, creating choreography to music, but then also sort of in the background, actually learning more in depth about music is also a long-term goal, and I have been working on some playlists already this year, of course, practicing yoga, meditation, gratitude and abundance, German, physical therapy. All of these things are a weekly or a daily basis. Really important support structures. Lass die Liebe strahlen, that was a freebie and an order I made for a couple of rubber stamps. It means let the love strahlen. What is that? Radiate. Let love radiate. And keeping up with a few notes about my German learning and also my status in Germany in terms of, visa and work permits and taxes and insurance and really fun stuff like that. adulty things. And that's what this section sort of is too, like the business side of my business in terms of classes and coaching and sort of campaigns and trying to grow and share and all of that. Here's some sharing things: participating in workshops and challenges. I'll both be hosting and participating in some creative challenges this year. Some have already gotten started, like I mentioned, alphabet supersets. I did the yoga visibility challenge last month. Been blogging, doing blogging challenges. Like I said, the 24/24s and 2024 bullet journal planning type of challenge. And an additional challenge that I've been sort of toying with, I mean, I've been sort of starting with it already softly, but not saying anything sort of publicly or making a lot of rules around it, is going into more of a depth year or a low buy year in terms of, I realize now that I have so many resources, so many, for example, stationary resources, just to give one example, but also just name a category. I feel like I'm well supplied, and other than maybe replacing things that I already have, I have no great need that is open that needs to be filled. And I have bigger priorities in terms of traveling, in terms of growth, in terms of learning and exploring, that I would rather, and investing, that I would rather put my sort of financial priorities towards than things. So a depth or low buy sort of year is another challenge, and then others to be announced. I don't really focus too hard on metrics as far as my social media and just size and growing and that sort of thing, but I still think it's good to take a look every once in a while, and I'm thinking about tracking those sorts of things outside of the workshops and challenges on maybe more of a quarterly or seasonal basis. So just taking a look at how much have I been creating and engaging in certain areas such as Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, for example, and then have I seen engagement in return? Have I seen a growth in my audience? And things like that. Oh, this is a little brainstorming list of some sort of events and holidays that I might want to participate in. Financial area, I'm not going to share a lot of the details of that, but of course tracking and planning and being responsible in that area is very important, along with other adulting things. I call it adulting. I'm 42 and I still call it adulting because I think that's funny. And also that includes like cat care and physical care and sort of on that low consumption, low purchasing. I just kind of keeping a little running list here of how fast I go through things, what I replace, what becomes empty, what am I running through, what is sort of the pace of that. It's a little bit detail oriented, but it interests me, so there we go. As well as long-term wish lists in different categories, things to keep track of in the more distant future or future plus log. And then we have some fun pages in here I've been using just to keep track of synchronicity and media and excerpts from poems and texts and things written by me that have to do with my theme of the year, my word of the year, my sort of inspiration and motivation. I'm just keeping a running list to refer to. So fun. This is a Kanban board of articles and videos. And I'm not using this optimally yet. It's sort of a draft of such a thing, but because I have so many videos and articles and pieces of content and creations in motion, I thought I might try this idea that I've seen other creators use on the internet. So it's a work in progress, but I'm going to see how it works, sort of moving each of these ideas or each of these items, pieces of content, through from the sort of filming and writing phase through editing, posting and sharing it, and all the way through to the end. Finish my 2023 reflection, a swan warm-up, a seaside warm-up. I've got some favorite books videos in the works. 2023 media favorites. This, hey, is my 2020, this is meta, 2024 Bujo Collection Migration Part 2. So sort of completing that, moving fully into the 2024 book. We are recording it right now. We're gonna have to edit and post and share that later. Yeah, and so as new ideas come in, I'll put them up here to create, and then it'll film it, we'll move through there. And something I'm doing in support of my business growth and being more strategic and those sort of challenges is continuing to read the book Profitable Content System and be more organized about campaigns and launches. It sounds so corporate and businessy, but I do want to see how what I'm creating and sharing for free and in support of people in my community, how that's actually also supporting me and being able to continue to do that creating. And so that's what that spread's for. The Yoga Visibility Challenge took place in January, and here's my notes on that guy, and then we're into another page of synchronistic textual recorded notes here. Maybe I'll take notes on a depth here, and I've got about half the book left for the rest of my collections. Yeah, so there you go, completion. We're working on it. Collections are happening. It'll soon be time for a new book for March and beyond. So I'll see you for that transition process if you are interested, if we are liking this sort of thing. And I'm liking this sort of thing. It really helps me to be working in here and to be sort of celebrating my progress and keeping things in mind so I don't have to actually hold those things in my mind, in my brain. As you can see, it's a lot of moving pieces. Not all of these things are my absolute top priority, but they're all things that over the course of the year, over the course of the months, I will want to be referring to, and it's really satisfying to see and be able to add to each of the collections that are dear to my heart. So what's dear to your heart? How are you? What are you creating right now? What are you sort of moving forward with this year? What are you still completing for 2023? I already admitted to you I wanted to sort of process some more of my 2023 media, books I read, series and films and things and live performances that I saw, and that has as yet to happen. So we'll see how we go with that, but also have a lot of, like I said, more even higher priority sort of challenges and workshops and exciting stuff to share with you. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll see you again soon. Take good care.